Hello everyone, my name is Alicia Jade and welcome back to the Get Me Off podcast. Yes, so's mine.
Oh my god, at the minute it's like oily
What's
and then it's
happened?
dry. Like it's just flaking away.
My life is
Yeah,
flaking
like,
away.
What is this? It's horrible.
Why are we so weird?
I know.
I kind of love it though.
You're not going to do your ASMR?
What, my introduction?
Yeah. There we go.
I don't know, how would I do an...
Well,
Okay,
you can't 'cause you don't have anything to...
wait, this
To
could
open.
work.
It's not the same, is it?
No, it's not the same. How about my bracelets?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Hello everyone and welcome
Hello
to the Get Me Off podcast.
to the ASMR version.
Anyway, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome back to the Get Me Off podcast. And today I have another fantastic guest with me. So without further ado, I always seem to say the same thing every single episode, but you know, we're getting into the vibe. Without further ado, who are you and what do you do?
My name is Maddy June, and my brand name is Maddy June. I'm a tattooist, digital artist, and I do fashion design as well.
Ooh, I love that. And I do fashion design as if it's
design.
nothing.
Fashionable.
I love that. So how did you get into tattooing? Obviously, sometimes there's like a real direct track from being like drawing, only going into that. How did you get into...
So I was studying at uni. I was doing a degree in illustration, and I started doing an apprenticeship during that time, which was really busy at the time because like tattooing's like a lot. Like when you start, there's a lot of work that you put into it. And I was also doing my degree. But by the time I'd finished my degree, like I was like in full-time tattooing. So yeah, and I just used to watch like all the tattoo programs, and like that spurred me on when I was a kid.
They were the inspo.
Yeah, Miami Ink, LA Ink with like Kat Von D. I was like, oh, what a cool job.
They always were so like drama filled though,
Yeah.
weren't they? But I guess that's because they were
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah, I think they ramped that up for that. And
Yeah,
there's
I
always
think
like
they did.
elaborate stories for like the tattoos, whereas like now I feel like people just come in, they're like, I want a pineapple, like because I like pineapples.
I have a pineapple.
So do I.
I love that. If you don't have a pineapple tattoo, you haven't lived.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I agree.
It is true.
I agree.
Yeah.
So when you got into like starting the illustration and starting the tattooing and stuff like that, is that when you first developed your style, or do you think your style has developed over the years?
I think it's improved over the years. I think my art style has always kind of been the same, like since I was younger. Like I kind of did the same thing, always like lines, like colour. Like I love doing colour, and that's what I predominantly do with like tattooing. So I think it's just like evolved slightly, but like it's always kind of been there. I kind of just know what I like to draw really. So yeah.
I love that because you have kind of like almost like a pop art style to some of your designs as well, which is really nice.
Yeah.
And I know you do a lot of like some of the Disney stuff and like the Disney princesses and things like that, which is really cool. Do you like, what's your favorite, do you have a preference? What's your favorite kind of thing to tattoo?
It really depends, like on the day. I feel like I like doing stuff that's different all the time because it like kind of keeps you creative, like having different things every day. But I do love flowers. I love floral stuff, like pretty, girly things. I try not to put eyelashes on everything, but I like seem to do that.
But like big eyelashes.
Yeah, I love putting eyelashes on things.
I love that. Not cars though. People that have eyelashes on cars, I can't deal with that.
I kind of love that.
No.
Yeah.
Like a beetle
I
with
reckon
eyelashes.
we could bring it back.
No, please, let's not.
I think we could.
No.
Infills on the car.
Oh no. No, I can't do it. I can't. I don't know why.
Funny.
And the stickers on the back of cars that say "powered by fairy dust."
Oh, I kind of love it though.
I just can't handle it. I can't do it.
Yeah, fair enough.
So how long is the process from, because obviously tattooing is something that's quite intense. Like you're literally putting something on someone for life.
Yeah.
Unless they have a high enough pain threshold that they can get it removed. Because I have seen that and I will never do that. But that's a lot of pressure. How do you deal with that in the early days and the early stages of starting?
I think you just panic. And just have a bad time. I remember like doing my first like proper tattoos, and I was just like so scared. Because also when you start, like, because of the ink, you're like, you can't see anything. So like you start and like the ink is just like pooling onto the skin and you just think, oh my God, I can't see anything or what I'm doing. So that was like took a while for me to like get used to. Yeah. But then over time you just kind of think it's like second nature now because it's been like 7 years. And I did the research. I've been tattooing you for 6 years.
6 years.
6 years.
So I came to you in your first year.
Yeah.
How interesting.
I know.
Oh my God, that's so crazy.
I know. I looked on Instagram. I was like, oh yeah.
That's such a long time ago.
Yeah,
and some of the ones that you didn't want to do are now our favourites.
That I love. I love them.
Yeah.
You have great ideas. I just, at the time, I'm like, that's awful.
What the hell is that? I'm not putting that on your body.
And then I do it and I love it.
So you should just trust me.
Yeah,
I'm always right.
That's true. You are always right.
I love it. But no, we sort of ventured into a few different ideas, didn't we, with mine?
Yeah. I love your finger ones.
I know, they're my favourite.
They're great.
I was saying earlier, I definitely want my other hand doing.
Yeah.
But my hands I had done when I worked in retail. That was when I worked in Jack Wills.
Yeah.
And it's always one of those strange things, like, you always think, oh, can I get a job if I have hand tattoos and all this kind of stuff? And I'm like, well, I work in the creative industry. So if somebody isn't going to give me a job because I have hand tattoos, I feel like that's probably not a job that's going to be right for me. How do you feel about like that in terms of like decision making and stuff these days? Is there still like a massive stigma to it or not really?
I find that it's really changed. I don't think there's much of a stigma anymore, especially like in the like media and like on TV and stuff. People are more like open to having tattoos and stuff. And I feel like my clients, like even in the last like 5 years, I used to have a lot of people who were like, oh, I can't show my arms at work and because I'm a nurse or like things like that. And now it's a bit more like relaxed. I think there's still jobs that like don't like you having it. Yeah. But it just is what it is, isn't it? But
I remember working at the football stadium here and them being a little bit funny about my tattoos. And during the summer, obviously, it's boiling. So I would have like the bottom half of my arms out and obviously my hands and things like that. And I always found it really entertaining that all of the footballers and most of the people that would come and watch the games are covered in tattoos, like arms, legs, everything. And yet there was still this sort of facade that if you work somewhere, you don't have tattoos. I find that very interesting. And to be honest, there were a few times where so I was on the front desk where all the players and the managers and their families and stuff would come through. Again, majority of them covered in tattoos. And I remember Pep, the manager of Chelsea, I think it is. No, Man City. Oh God, I'm going to get that wrong. Someone's going to be screaming at me through their speakers. But he came through and sort of looked at me, and I've got one on my ankle as well, and I had like these little heels on. And that's the one you did where I almost kicked you in the face by accident.
Yeah,
the love heart one on my ankle. Yes, exactly. And he came through and he just sort of like looked at my arms and then looked and he went, I like your tattoos, like this. And I was like, oh, thanks. Yeah. So this sort of like, it became more lax, but I just found it really interesting that in a service industry like that because it was the same when I did the cricket.
Really?
Yeah.
It's almost like tattooed people aren't professional people, I feel. It's that kind of like vibe. And I had someone recently who is one of my friends, and she's going to like an event and she's quite tattooed, and she was worried about like wearing like a dress in front of like all these like executives, and she's quite tattooed. But like you got to think about it, like it's just art, and it shows that you're dedicated. It shows that you can tolerate a lot.
Yeah.
You know,
and that you can make a decision.
Yeah, you can make a life-changing decision.
Yeah.
I think they're all really positive things.
Yeah, personally. I agree. It is very interesting. And I think that whole sort of, facade and that whole view of people with tattoos being different or rowdy or all of these other different things, that is definitely diminishing. Yeah. And it's only going to get more because our whole generation basically have tattoos. Yeah. My mum didn't have her first tattoo until she was 50.
Yeah, my parents were the same.
Yeah. Yeah. And she hated them when I was younger. She told me if I got any tattoos before my 18th birthday, that she would kick me out. So I got 3 tattoos the day after my 18th birthday.
Of course you did.
Obviously.
I don't think like films help with like the portrayal of tattooists and tattoo shops though. Yeah. You know, like I was thinking about this. You know, like the film 13. Have you seen that film?
Why do I feel like I have?
It's like two girls. It's like coming of age, like, and it's like early 2000s, I think.
No, maybe I haven't.
But there's a scene where they go and get their tongue pierced in a tattoo studio, and it's like the typical like dingy like cave tattoo
Bearded
studio.
men.
The man has got like a handlebar moustache, and he's like, hello, and like he's got like a motorbike, you know. And I don't think like that is like in a lot of films. I
Yeah.
feel it's like that's your tattooist,
Yeah.
like a scary man,
Yeah.
and it's not the case.
Scary man.
Yeah. And I think maybe some people might watch it and be like, oh, that's what it's like a scary atmosphere with a scary man.
So obviously there is that view of tattoo shops and tattooists and things like that, like you say, being big scary men. Do you think that influences the kind of people that then want to get tattoos? Or do you see like a big range in people that come into you?
There's a huge range, I think. There's all ages, women, men, any kind of person you can think of probably gets tattooed, you know? I've had accountants, like people with like CEOs, like get tattoos. And then I've had like anyone really, to be honest. It's very broad.
Do you see any difference in like age groups? Is there like more age groups that tend to have tattoos, or is it sort of more universal now?
Universal, I feel.
That's really
I get
interesting.
a lot of really young students, but then I also get people like middle-aged people and like older people. And a lot of like elderly people are starting to like get into.
Really?
Yeah, I love it. I've got a neighbour, I've been trying to get him to come in for ages, and he's like in his 70s, maybe 80, and I'm like, come in.
What do they get? Like, what kind of tattoos do they
Just
get? I
like-
can't imagine them getting like a massive pin-up girl.
Yeah, no, not so much that. Like little cute things. I think because it's like evolved so much now, you can get like tiny little tattoos without
Like the
it
line
being.
ones.
Yeah, yeah.
I love a line tattoo.
Yeah.
They're very cute. Do you see that there's like trends in tattoos, or does it not really go that way? Like, is there trends in what people ask for?
Yes, trends. I think it all comes like back around, like because at the minute tribal back in, but it's thin tribal. It's called cybersigilism.
It's called what?
Cybersigilism,
That's a
and
tongue
it's like
twister.
really thin tribal. I like it, to be fair. I wouldn't get it, but I like it. And like butterflies back in.
Oh no.
Yeah, tribal butterflies.
Oh no. Cybersigilism. The butterflies.
Butterflies, yep. In barbed wire.
No,
Yeah,
not the
no,
barbed
I
wire.
love that. I thought you'd like that.
No, there was one that I wanted when I was maybe like 16, and it's the. Do you know, if I had it, I would own it. Like,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
I'm quite glad I didn't get it done.
What is
And
it?
it was it looked like tights. So it was the line up the back of the leg and the bow
I
at the
remember,
top.
Like the bows on the back.
Yes.
I can't say I've done any of them, to be fair, in the last 7 years.
That was a big trend.
Yeah, the
That,
bows
that
on
was
the
like
back.
the Tumblr days.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe like 2009, maybe a bit before then.
Yeah.
I feel.
That was a big trend.
That was a big thing, wasn't it? Or like writing on the back. I guess that's more like, people get it now. to be
Yeah,
fair.
I think people still get that. I don't know. I really want one like above my kneecap. So, you know,
Yeah.
like my little writing ones, like
Yeah.
one either side above my kneecap. I think that's quite cute.
that is
But it's also like making the decisions of what parts of your body you want to go on to. Because a lot of people say that getting tattoos are addictive. Do you
Yes.
see that in people, or do you not really see them get addicted, but you just like,
Absolutely.
oh,
Yeah,
really?
I see it all the time. People will be like, oh, yeah, I'm just coming in for one. And then they get it and they're like, I might message you when I get in because I have another one I'm thinking of. Or like people think about them when they get tattooed. So
Yeah.
like they'll be like getting it done and they'll be like, oh, like I could get something else. And I definitely feel like it's addictive. Like I have like recurring customers who I've just filled their bodies up over the years, and like because they're just like, oh, I've got this tiny gap, and it gets to that point where you have like tiny little gaps, and you're like, I
You're
have
trying to
this
fill a
gap
tiny
that's like
bit.
this, and like, what can you put in that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I definitely think it's addictive.
I wonder why it's addictive. What part of it do you think is addictive? Surely it's not the pain.
It's not the pain because it sucks. I think Do you know what? I think it makes people feel better about their bodies as well. And that's one part of my job that I love, is giving someone confidence. I have a lot of people who get their legs tattooed, for example, and they wouldn't have shown their legs before, like worn shorts, but now they will because they have a piece of artwork that they love. And I love that.
That's so nice.
It's really nice. And I think, yeah, it gives you a bit of like, you know, identity as well, I suppose, with it.
It's like a form of self-expression. It's like a form of like clothing almost, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's just like that. So I think like that's probably partly why it's addictive, because you get something and you think, oh, it looks really nice. I love this now. Maybe on a body part that you wouldn't necessarily like otherwise. Yeah. So you think, oh, it's pretty. Yeah.
No, it looks pretty.
It's pretty now.
I love that. I love that. And I think as someone that does have tattoos, it's like I still enjoy looking at my own tattoos. Yeah. Is that weird? Do people do that?
Yeah.
Do you look at yours and go, oh, I like that?
Do you know what? I don't really notice. And I've got a lot of ones that I think I should have made a better decision.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I don't really.
That's a big thing, isn't it, when people regret their tattoos?
Yeah.
Do you see that? Like, do many people get cover-ups? Like, what's the themes with when people regret their Are there any themes?
I think it's just moving on from, like, that part of your life. I feel like tattoos are, like, a stamp of, like, a time.
Yes, that's how I see mine.
Yeah. So, like, you're like, oh, I got this then when I was doing this. And I feel like some people, you know, they get things, not necessarily regret. I don't feel like I regret any of my old ones. I just feel like maybe that's just not so much me anymore. Yeah. And like you can change it. And this last year especially, I've been doing like so many cover-ups.
Oh wow.
And I love it. I love changing it, like changing a whole piece and like making it a new thing.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Because one of my friends is having some of hers lasered off at the moment, which is obviously very painful.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And she said that she just wants a blank canvas. She said that she'll probably get some more, but she wants a blank canvas and she wants all of those ones gone because, like you said, they're not
her anymore.
Yeah, they don't fit with her now.
I feel like it's definitely harder with laser to like completely get rid of one. It's possible, but it's like a long process. Whereas if you like laser it or like cover it, it's like a bit quicker, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess it just depends if you want to completely get rid of them and have nothing, or if you want the cover up.
I can't imagine having nothing. Could you?
There are photos of me when I modelled a few years ago, and he edited out all of my tattoos purely just for the brand. And I sort of looked at myself without tattoos and I was like, oh, I don't like it. I look a bit weird. Like I can't, it doesn't look like me.
It's
like
really
this
weird,
looks
right?
like me.
Yeah.
And I've always been I don't know about you with yours, but I've always been very set on, this is the look I'm going for. This is how I want myself to look. And I don't want to go over that. So for example, if I were to do like all of my legs and like all of my other arms and like everything else.
All your other arms.
All my other arms. Like it doesn't fit with how I want to look, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Are you the same with yours or?
I feel like I'll probably be like full body coverage at some point.
I love that you're not dismissing that idea. You're like, oh, well, we're going to get there.
We're going to get there. But I just don't want to because they're all painful bits.
Yes.
I've like left all the worst bits now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
That was silly.
I know.
That was very silly.
Really silly. But
I feel like tattoos can also mean things as well. Like you say about different parts in your life. Like my tiger it wasn't one that you did. I went up to London.
Love it,
yeah, I remember at the time I was just sort of realizing that I was bisexual rather than straight. And it wasn't like I don't know, for me that was almost like my coming out tattoo.
Yeah.
Like that was my treat to myself. Yeah, so it was just kind of my almost stamp of like, that's when this happened in my life. Yeah. And I liked the fact that it was like a tiger and it was very like prowess and all of that kind of thing. And it sort of went with it. Well. I know. It's
quite big.
I do love it.
Yeah, I love it too.
I remember when I took the second skin off of it, I almost passed out in the shower.
That's the worst.
I hate that stuff.
Do you know what? I think aftercare is so much worse than like getting it done.
Yes.
Because it's like looking after it and having to like baby yourself?
Someone I know got a tattoo recently, and he was like, "Oh, am I supposed to pick these bits off?" And I was like, "No."
Oh, that pains me. It pains me in my heart.
No, you're basically picking the tattoo out. Oh,
Then again, I'm pretty bad at doing that.
really?
Yeah. I am a bit of a picker myself, and I don't look after mine very well either.
That's
Even though
bad.
I have to tell people like,
How
this
to
is
look
how you do
after
it.
it.
I'm just like, whatever.
Obviously, you continue to do tattoos, and tattooing will always be an industry. But what other opportunities are there for tattooists and illustrators and things like that? Like, are there other collaborations and things that you've done?
Yeah, so I feel like there's loads of opportunities as an artist, to be honest. Like you can use design for a lot of different things. For me, I've been working with Shein for 3 years, and I've been
so cool.
designing with them. I have another collection coming out this spring with them, and yeah, it's been great. And just things like that, like you can branch out. I feel like for me as well, like it's important to do loads of different things and not just set myself on one thing. I feel like that's why I spend so much time like drawing otherwise, like not for tattooing.
Like in your spare time?
Yeah, yeah, because like if I focus too much on work and like I don't get like creative anymore, I get demotivated.
Yeah.
If I don't spend that time like creating for myself.
Because it is a creative job, but also it's a job, so it changes the thought process for you. It must do.
Yeah, exactly. And it's really hard. Like I feel like the last year I've really discovered how to create for myself and not just think of it like work. Because I've been doing this for a few years, so I just think like, oh, I need to do this to make money and like pay my rent, but I also need to create for myself and, you know, my own hobbies and things like that. Shein's a little bit of like a breath of fresh air, I feel, with things, because it's different.
Yeah.
Like it's a completely different industry. Fashion is crazy.
It is.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Interesting though.
Yeah.
So what do you do? Like, how does the process with them work?
So I basically design whatever I want. They give me like kind of tips on like what's coming out, like coming up with fashion. But I create what I want to make, and then we go from there, refine it. They show me the samples, and then they create as many as I ask them to, and then we go from there.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
it's
I
really
love
cool.
that. I
And
love that.
Yeah, they sent me to Paris, which was amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, for a fashion show. It was incredible.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And obviously these things come from like tattooing, and like there are sort of like movements and trends, as we say, in tattoos.
Yeah.
But where do you think the tattoo industry is going?
It's hard to tell. It's very oversaturated at the minute. There's shops everywhere and there's tattooists everywhere. And I feel like because of that, certain artists have found it difficult to have their individualism without creating constant social media content.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like a new thing that we're kind of expected to create.
You're supposed to be a social media manager as well.
Yeah, it's like all these extra jobs, like as well as tattooing. It's like you have this admin role, now you have the social media role of like getting a following and like making these reels, and like some people are great at them and they're just like, I mean, you're great at them.
Thanks.
I'm not so good, but like I try. But yeah, I feel like a lot of artists as well are kind of a bit bitter about it.
Yeah.
Like they're just like, I don't want to make content for my job that I've been doing like 20 years.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the direction it's moving. And you just kind of have to move with it, I feel.
Yeah. Sometimes it can be just difficult because if you don't move with the times, you kind of get surpassed, don't you?
I believe so. It's no longer like word of mouth, really.
No.
With tattooing, it's you look at their Instagram.
It's the same with a lot of things though. Like even if I'm going to a restaurant or something like that, like I walked past a restaurant in Romsey the other day, and I looked, and I really want to go, but I looked for them on Instagram and they don't have one.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that kind of puts me off.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Because I can't see regular pictures and updates of what your food looks like. There's no updates on there of when you're open or like any of these things. And obviously you have tagged pictures where it's like, that's almost like the new word of mouth.
Yeah, it is.
Because that's other people sharing their experience with your business or you. And it's I think it's the same for tattoos. Like you want to see what other people have got as well.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. It's the same with anything, isn't it? Like hair salons, things like that. You want to see updated pictures of their work.
Yeah.
And that's the way to do it.
100%. It's
Yeah.
very interesting. So what's next for you in terms of like, what industries are you going into? Are you carrying on with tattooing? Like what's like new and interesting to you?
I am definitely carrying on tattooing until I'm old. And
Forever.
me and you in the retirement home.
Yeah. I'll be like, I've just got a little gap on my finger. Can you just do that?
You'll be on your face at that point when it ran out of room. So I'm still going to be tattooing. Definitely just more artwork, I think. Painting. I love painting.
I want to start painting.
Yeah, do it. It's great.
Do you like throw stuff? Or is that not your vibe?
No, it's not
You're
my
more
vibe.
of like a dainty.
I'm a little dainty, do a quick little landscape in a sketchbook. I'm not a thrower.
And not a thrower.
Are you?
I'd be a thrower.
Would you?
Yes.
You throw it around
Yeah,
and just...
give me a balloon full of paint and I'll throw it.
When they like dangle it from the
that's
ceiling
so
and they
cool.
like push it, that does look quite fun.
That does look quite fun. I would
And
do
there's
that.
marble things when you can like tilt it and it drips down. That
Oh,
looks cool.
yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
No, not for me. So I won't be doing that. But yeah, more painting. I want to complete a whole sketchbook by the end of the year. Digital art and stuff. I want to do a Patreon at some point with digital art, but that's all like come later, I feel.
That's really
And
cool.
yeah, and then I've got Shein collection in the spring, and that's pretty much it, really.
That's really cool. That's so cool. Well, thank you for coming to talk to me.
Thank you for having me.
And I can't wait to see you again for more tattoos.
Yeah,
Because
soon.
let's be honest, I'm going to get more.
You are.
I am.
You've been sending me a lot.
I have. You always know when I'm ready for the next one because I
Yeah.
send you like,
Reels.
yes, and
like,
pictures. And I'm like,
oh,
the
I
one
love
on
it.
this girl's back looks really nice.
Yeah.
And you're like, you just don't reply. You're like, okay, we'll just bank them. And then we go through our messages when I get to you and you're like, okay, which one should we do today?
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. So where can people find you?
So my Instagram is Madu June. It's MADU June _. That's on Instagram, and that's pretty much it, really.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for listening. I hope that gave you a little insight into the tattoo industry. And I will see you again in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.